With the ever-expanding community of Minecraft speedrunners, there's sure to be plenty of top runners with crazy times that don't get the recognition that they deserve, being outshined by slightly faster times or bigger creators, with some of the best, most game-changing players also being some of the smallest. And with a low 600 subscribers, the Camo 6, being one of the best players with great mechanics and great fluidity throughout runs, would still, after months and months of grinding, not obtain a top time as well as the recognition by the community that he deserved. But on the 17th of January 2022, after great patience and a long grind, the Camo 6 would finally load into a world, and with risky plays and enough luck throughout the run, would finally give him a personal best that he deserved. Who is the Camo 6 and why is he considered one of the best? Well, with having speedrun the game for over a year, having next to perfect gameplay throughout runs, and having perfected almost every speedrunning strategy, he was able to lower his PB from an already great 16 minutes all the way down to a legendary 12 in just a few months, and not out of luck, out of sheer skill and ability when it comes to talent, with spending hours each day perfecting his gameplay, movement, and overall knowledge of the game. He was able to pull out this 12-minute run. So with that, let me give you a quick breakdown of the run. After loading into the world and spotting a shipwreck as well as an enter, Camo got some wood for an axe, doors and a bow, gathering more wood and then setting sail for the shipwreck, getting loads of iron and food, and after crafting his tools, he heads off to a magma ravine and builds his nether portal, and at around 2.5 minutes, he enters the nether. After E-raying a bastion and running over to it with it being a treasure type, he begins to perform his route, gathering 2 gold blocks off the bridge and luring all the piglins to the top of the rampart, aggravating the piglins and giving them the gold to trade with, and after collecting everything he needed, he peeled over to a nearby fortress and began killing blazes, navigating around, obtaining all his blaze rods, and once obtaining enough rods, he built his blind travel portal and exits the nether. After exiting, he distance checks a stronghold with it being less than 200 blocks away, and after entering into the stronghold, he navigates over to the portal room and enters into the end and waits for the dragon to perch, and once it does, he one cycles the dragon, beating the game in 12 minutes flat.
Let's fucking go! Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Is that some 12 big folly?
After getting this super fast time, placing him top 35 in the world out of over 3,000 unique runs, he definitely wasn't done with RSG, grinding hours on end hoping for the time to come soon, and with Camo not settling for anything sub 11 or sub 10 past this point, it was time to put all his focus into his runs, and only having to wait 2 weeks for the faithful day of January 17th, 2022, where the Camo 6 would shave an extraordinary amount of time off his PB, getting a top 5 time of 10 minutes and 37 seconds. After spawning into the world, Camo immediately sees an ocean being a good spawn, containing 2 essential things to help him out in the run. A shipwreck, allowing him to obtain all his iron to craft his tools, and food to last him throughout the run, as well as a magma ravine which he can enter using the lava underneath the ravine. So with knowing that, Camo heads straight for the shipwreck where he loots the chest, obtaining plenty of iron as well as food, more than enough to last him the run. So he gathers some wood from the post of the shipwreck and then crafts his tools, bucket, and then some flint for a flint and steel, getting more wood and then heading off to the magma ravine, building his nether portal and entering the nether just after 2 minutes. Upon nether spawn, Camo doesn't see anything right off the bat, but after E-raying for a bastion, he works out that there is one nearby, and then proceeds to do a strategy to abuse the planar fog, allowing him to see way farther than he normally would, and while doing it, he sees what possibly is the fortress not too far away, so he focuses up and runs off to the bastion, with it being a housing type. He proceeds with the Manhunt housing route, which is where you break the center chest of the bastion, aggravating a ton of piglins, which you can then lure them over to where all the gold is housed, then mine it up and give it to the piglins, where they will cycle through trades, giving you all the items you could need, and this is exactly what Camo does, spending barely a minute in the bastion before he's obtained all the trades he needed, from string to obsidian, fire resistance, and most importantly, ender pearls, then leaving off to the possible fortress he saw before. After a few pearl throws, Camo saw that he was right and spotted the fortress, so after lowering his render distance down to 5 for higher mob spawns with him being in a soul sand valley, which typically have higher spawns in itself, he was in for a crazy fortress split, having wither skeletons charging and blazers shooting from all angles, traversing through, and after one hell of a fortress split, Camo finally obtained enough rods and built his blind travel portal, and exited the nether just over 7 minutes, a great pace in and of itself, but would soon change with what happening next, changing the run. After entering back through to the overworld, Camo proceeds to distance check the Stronghold, lowering his FOV to get a precise angle using the Ninja Brain bot to calculate the exact chunk of the Stronghold, and after finding out the coordinates that he built his blind travel portal at, mind you, not being very great coordinates, would put him in one of his best blinds ever.
It's 180 blocks.
And after going to the chunk of the Stronghold, he digs out the 4-4 coordinates of the chunk and digs straight into the starter staircase of the Stronghold, and after great navigation around the Stronghold, he spots the portal room and travels over to it, preparing for something risky, but if pulled off, could save possible minutes off the run. But before I get into the end fight, I'm gonna go through what this risky strategy is. Ever since Illumina's 1053 RSGPB, which he entered the end at 7 minutes and 45 seconds, being lost to a bad dragon perch, players realised how unlucky it was to have such a fast-paced run be ruined by bad RNG, so people began working on strategies to avoid this, allowing for faster and more consistent end fights, but with a large risk at hand. The Zero Cycle, another great invention by speedrunner named T-Wags, that over time players began to learn, with very few considering it in actual runs, with players like Crooks throwing real chances at world record using it. But once it was seen how close runners were getting to insane times using the strat, players began to become more confident with it, spending hours on end perfecting it, and the Camo 6, being one of the first runners to ever try it in a real run, would pay off, risking it all because if he failed the cycle, he would have lost one of the fastest runs in speedrunning history, doing the Zero Cycle and beating the game in a top 5 time of 10 minutes and 37 seconds.
Let's fucking go, dude! Oh my god! He fucking changes the world, dude! Oh my god! Oh my god! Fuck the doubters, dude! Holy shit! That fucking 30s! Oh my god! Oh my god!
This reaction that Camo had was definitely not anything out of the ordinary after getting a top 5 time of 10 minutes and 37 seconds before retime, with it not being an easy thing to do, spending hours on end perfecting the gameplay and mechanics, and also waiting very patiently to load the seed that would give him this time, and after over 70,000 resets finally loading the seed. And with this time that you now have, I want to say a huge congratulations congratulations to the Camo 6 on this crazy time, one of the most perfectly played runs in RSG history, and it's well deserved. And with the PB progression that you've had in the past, coming so far in such a short amount of time is a sight to behold, and with the skill and the never-ending mindset to get that time really paid off. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Camo 6. With this run and former runs as well as great videos showing his skill set, you won't be disappointed. And if you could do me a favor and subscribe to me as well, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you don't want me in your feed, I would settle for a like. The growth recently has been absolutely ridiculous, and I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I hope I see you in the next video. Goodbye everyone.